My name is David Pilgrim. Welcome to Expect Diversity. Today we'll be talking about the Day of Silence. We have 4 guests. We have Susan Fogarty, Brian Kelly, Lillian Patterson, and Penny Harvey. Welcome. Maybe we could start out by asking the most obvious question, I imagine, which is, what is the Day of Silence?
The Day of Silence is actually a nationwide project. It started out in, sorry about that, I want to make sure I get this right. It started out in the University of Virginia. It started out as a project for accepting diversity and anti-violence towards students. It's now nationwide, and a lot of colleges and a lot of students partake in it. Pretty much what it is a silent protest, so that day you do not talk, and you carry around cards that state why you do not talk. And it's to show the community what it's like for us to have to be silenced, and it's also kind of just a silent protest stating if we weren't here, this is what you could expect. And it's a way for us to positively reinforce the negative impacts that we receive.
Okay. Now, have any of you participated in a Day of Silence program before?
When I went to Ferris, I participated in a few of them, but I remember being afraid to let people see my t-shirt that said Day of Silence, so when I went to my church groups that night, I would wear a hoodie and cover it up, and it's kind of my statement now that I don't have to do that anymore, and I want to make sure I participate this year to let people know they don't have to do that either, so it's very important to me.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask you, when you say you're afraid to let them see it, afraid of what?
I was afraid of what people in my church would say, and the one time that I didn't cover it up, they actually asked me not to go to the church anymore, so.
That's amazing. Okay, I don't want to start preaching. Usually on these shows, I get through at least 3 questions before I start preaching. But it would seem to me that a church would want to participate in something which is designed to bring attention to stopping people from being bullied and harassed and the like. So I'm sorry that you had that experience. What are we planning on doing here at Ferris?
We have, in the past, and I believe this year as well, there is a meeting at the Quad at 11 where they offer the free pizza, so if anything else, come for the free pizza. But we do small events in the Quad. One year we played silent football, which I got to be part of. Mm-hmm. It was pretty exciting.
Did you win? Did you win?
We couldn't keep score because nobody could talk, so we don't really know who won. But we do things, a group of us, several of us actually walk the city of Big Rapids. The first year was kind of rough for the same reason that she said. At first they're really interested and, oh, this is so cool, what's it about? But as soon as they read the card, then you got the looks and you got what we expected back from that, which is, how dare you confront us with this? After that, we do that as much as you can during the day because a lot of us have class, so we can't be silent the entire time. But then that night we have the Night of Noise. We've brought in people for concerts. We brought in Ellis a couple years. She's a folk singer, and she actually last year, all we had to do is pay her airfare because she really believes in the cause. Mm-hmm. This year, it's not totally set what we're doing, but we always bring out the noise really loud after 7 because you're all day without talking. So it really depends on your commitment as far as what you can commit to. If you can't not be quiet, if you have to talk for your classes, we don't see that as a weakness. We just see it as you have obligations. Okay. So it's really what you can devote to it.
Well, what has been your experience with teachers, and how do the teachers at Ferris respond to that?
You're asking? As a teacher, I've participated in it. I sometimes haven't been on campus or even in the country when that happened. So, but I remember one of the early years wearing the T-shirt, and I was teaching down in Niles, and I made up the little cards, and so I only talked to do the teaching piece that I needed to do. And it's a 3-hour block of time, so usually on breaks and stuff, I'll chit-chat with the students. They're all adults and such. And so I explained it, and then we did the class, and actually they were pretty supportive. The interesting part was on the way back, I was driving a university car, and I had car problems. And so I had to get it fixed on the way back, and there I am in this shirt. And this wonderful mechanic fixed it, and he asked about my shirt. So it was after 7, so I hauled out one of the cards and was talking about it. And he asked me why I participated, and I told him. And it really was a positive experience. I don't think I'm the only one in our building who's ever done that, and I'm trying to think on that day. I don't have any classes that meet face to face that day, so I can be pretty quiet that day.
Okay. What is the national what is the date of the national? Is it April 25th?
Yes.
Okay, but it's my understanding that here at Ferris this year, we're not going to celebrate on the 25th, but are instead going to do it on the
29th.
29th.
This year, and we'll have the quad activities, and we're still trying to decide on the night activity. One of the things we're looking at is showing the video For the Bible Tells Me So, which is a movie that just relates religion and how that is related to the LGBT community, and it's not a bashing video. It just it shows families that are religious and have children who are LGBT.
Okay, now what kind of support, or I was going to say support or non-support, but I'll state it in the positive. What kind of support do you get from persons who are not members of the GLBT community?
I think it depends on the person and where we're at, but I think one of the biggest things is it's a chance for those who can show their support to show it by participating in the activities. It's also a very educational piece for campus community members to come out and learn more, whether that is just by trying to interact with one of us throughout the day or coming to the Night of Noise activities.
Okay. I want you to educate me a little bit, and that'll be good. It's good to have a chief diversity officer who wants to be educated. Are you offended at all when I use the term or the acronym GLBT as opposed to saying it out? And can you see how someone would prefer to have it said out? What do you think about that?
I think it depends on the person, you know, and that's one of the great things about our community. Like, every person kind of has their own take on it. I have, I guess, grown up in the community knowing it as LGBT, and the way that you say it isn't as much as the fact that you do accept it and understand it, because really it is alphabet soup. I mean, there's probably another 20 letters that we could add to that that we don't, and this is kind of our shortened way to say it. So even community members, I very rarely hear community members like actually say all the letters. And I know I've been more purposeful in trying to explain where each one is, and if I'm giving a presentation, I won't use certain letters if I don't talk about those people within that. Okay.
Well, I think you, if you've been paying attention, you know that at Ferris we just passed our first diversity plan in 124 years. Thank you very much. Wasn't easy, by the way, but with a lot of support from a lot of groups. And if you read it closely, you'll see that we specifically wanted people to understand that diversity at Ferris meant more than brown skin or black skin or red skin, that it also included this community, and that means every part of this community. Now, having said that, I have to tell you a little story, and it's a sad story. You know me as a teacher. Now, you claim you got an A from me, but I don't have my grade book, but I'm going to check it. No, I'm serious. I'm going to check it when I get back now. But I had a student in one of my classes, very bright young man. Came to class one day and had bruises on his face. And if you remember my class, I try to be very close to my students. I was very demanding, but also wanted my class to be a place where students felt comfortable talking to me, even about things that didn't relate directly to the textbook. And so I put myself in a position a couple times to give him an opportunity to let me know what had happened if he felt comfortable doing so, and he didn't. And after about 3 weeks of me trying to get him to talk to me, he finally said to me that he had gone out to a local bar in town and that he had gotten in a fight, and that was the language that he used, he'd gotten in a fight. I later discovered that it wasn't really a fight in the traditional sense, because it wasn't one-on-one, it was three-on-one, which doesn't look like a fight. And that young man, who was I'm serious, he was one of the more talented students I've taught here, he left Ferris. And he didn't even wait until the end of the semester. You know, he left before the session was finished. And one of the things I did when I took this position was decide that one of my messages to the campus would be, that mess is going to stop. That's just going to stop. And you don't have to like people, you don't have to understand them, you don't have to, none of that. So what? We're not going to be beating on one another because you disagree with somebody.